In the late 1980s, progressives began taking over the Republican Party, and under the rubric of neoconservative, started pulling the party further and further to the left. Both parties are now dominated by big government lobbyists. Thus, have the wealthy elite used progressivism to divide and conquer the American people. Several neoconservatives, led by Irving Kristol, left the Democratic Party and moved to the Republican Party with the goal of taking over the GOP. While there were key differences between liberal Democrats and neoconservative Democrats, they all agreed that big government was the solution to social problems. Today, both the Democratic and Republican parties are dominated by big government politicians. When I attended the 2004 Republican National Convention in New York, following George W.'s acceptance speech, we were all standing around eating cheese and crackers when the chair of our state party tiredly remarked that Republicans who think that the GOP was still the party of small government were wrong, and that both parties were now committed to big government. On the left, it was butter programs. On the right, it was gun programs. Starting with Bill Clinton, however, neoconservatives began to take over the Democratic Party too. War is the health of governments, and war means profits for banks. This is why you have Obama supporting essentially all of the same guns programs as George W. Bush. And it's why so many of the Republican elite are now coming out in support of Hillary. She is the war candidate, while Trump is the peace candidate. The military-industrial complex stands to profit from a Hillary administration, so they support her and are pulling out all of the stops in their efforts to prevent a Trump presidency. Trump is pro-growth, pro-America, and pro-peace. His plan to reduce the corporate tax to 15% would entice many corporations to bring jobs back to America. His plan to replace Obamacare with interstate competition and health savings accounts will reduce costs and improve medical care for millions of Americans. As long as America is a welfare state, we can't allow illegal immigration, which is bankrupting our nation due to the disproportionate use of welfare by illegal immigrants. Trump's plan to build an insurmountable wall along the border will reduce the onerous burden this places on the nation's economy. After some 60 years of trampling the rights of sovereign nations around the world and of murdering millions in the name of democracy, the West is now experiencing an invasion of militant Muslims who are relying on generous welfare programs to fund their revenge on the West. Much of the blame for this can be placed on our foreign policy. We can admit and remedy it without laying down to accept their wrath and revenge. First, we need to stop meddling in their affairs. Hillary wanted to make war on Libya. Americans died, and Libya is now a failed state. Obama wanted to make war on Syria, but the American people said no. Trump wants to give us a greater voice in our demands for peace. And the mainstream media, led by the wealthy elite, are saying no. We must say yes. Trump's plan to reduce our military adventures abroad with hard-nosed negotiations will help to eliminate the threat that Islam now poses to the West. Yes, we invited their wrath, but only idiots and imbeciles would support a policy of letting them wreak revenge to get even. We must both defend ourselves and stop meddling in their affairs. The time has come for America to elect a president who will put America first. We need a president who is experienced in business and knows how to promote prosperity through commerce rather than poverty through war and welfare. Trump may not be the ideal candidate. He's no Ron Paul, and he's not even a Rand Paul or Gary Johnson. But he may very well be America's last hope to prevent the destruction of the middle class and preserve peace. While it has been months since Hillary last held a press conference, Trump is making appearances all across the nation. He lays out his positions. A few days later, she plays the game, "Me Too." Clearly, Trump is the man with the ideas, while Hillary is just a tired old politician trying to keep up. Hillary's health is also being called into question. What are those seizures about, anyway? Her criminal activities and increasingly obvious health problems make her candidacy very problematic. You have to wonder how the DNC could have allowed this to happen. Are they really that stupid? Or do they have a third Obama term in mind? We can't let that happen. It seems certain that Trump is our only hope.